Assalamualaikum and hi sir, my name is Aina binti Azri. I will present on the summary of the case study. Our case study topic is collapse of Barings Bank. Barings Bank is one of the most reputable financial institutions in United Kingdom. It is founded in 1762 by Francis Baring, who was immigrated to England. Barings was formed as part of the country history, and even the Queen of England was among their clients. Nick Leeson. Nick Leeson is a 25 years old man who was hired at Barings and have quickly promoted on the trading floor, and he was appointed as a manager at the Barings branch in Singapore. Leeson, he was an aggressive trader which made a huge contribution to the Barings. However, Leeson, he was misused his position and he also hid his losses in an error account. He then kept betting to recoup his losses, but he lost his bet at the end and make it even worse. The huge losses made by Leeson have made a 233 years old bank collapse overnight because the capital of Barings cannot absorb the losses which generated by Leeson. That's all for the summary. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I bid to Sir Faiz. So, me and my group member will present about the case study of the collapse of Barings Bank. First of all, my name is Nurliana binti Ahmad Azmi. Question number 1 is, how was loss aversion apparent in Nick Leeson's conduct, and explain. First of all, I will explain what is loss aversion. Loss aversion is the tendency to prefer avoiding losses to acquiring gains. We probably won't be surprised to learn that people detest losses about twice as much as they enjoy gains. Basically, loss aversion is also related to prospect theory, developed by the Nobel Prize winner. Prospect theory includes the notion that people will tend to take much greater risks to avoid losing, and the things that they have than they would have taken to gain them in the first place. All this together means that people who perhaps inadvertently commit an ethical act will often consciously decide to lie to cover up their inadvertent mistakes. Okay, based on the case study, loss aversion done by Nick Leeson's conduct can be seen for 3 times. The first one, when the new Barings employee suffered only a small loss on Leeson watch in July 1992. However, Leeson did not want his reputation to be compromised because of the offense, so he intended to cover up a small losing by hiding it in an error account. By doing so, he expected to reverse the loss through speculative trading, and as a result, the amount of losses suffered became greater than before. Second loss aversion did by Leeson was when the speculative trading failed to cover the loss. In fact, it made the amount of loss become more greater in an effort to get out from under the losses. So he hid it again in his bets. He realized that the losses suffered are increasing, but prefers to remain silent about that. The third, when the Leeson tried his luck and taking the short-term bets by taking advantage of Nikkei index in Japan. At this time, a terrible earthquake has occurred in Kobe, and the index has dropped. So Leeson suffered so much loss that he was no longer able to hide himself.
Assalamualaikum and hi sir, my name is Aina binti Azri. I will continue with question 2. Question 2 is about Judith Ronsley, who worked for Barings Bank, and later he wrote a book about the Nick Leeson case, and he suggested 3 explanations for the Leeson behavior once the losses had started to pile up. As I think all the 3 explanations made by Ronsley played the role in this case. For the explanation number 1 is lesson lost aversion due to his fear of failure and humiliation, and I can prove that this explanation is when lesson he tried to hide his losses that been made in an error account because he do not want to lose his reputation and his job if the institution of Barings Bank know about his losses. And I also see that Nick Lesson he also tried to cover up his mistake in order to avoid the humiliation from the others, like his colleague and so on. As for explanation number 2, is about his ego and greed were worsened by micro-trading environment in which he operated. And this ego and greed of Nick Lesson can be seen when he still want to recoup his losses by taking more risky position and betting that Nikkei stock exchange will make the rapid recovery, even though he have lost his bet before, which due to the unexpected earthquake in Kobe. And I can see his greed and ego only bring him more losses that even make the institution collapse. As for explanation number 3, is about he suffered from common distortion in thinking pattern that often result from the high level of stress, which include the overconfidence and denial. Okay, we can see that Nick Lesson he suffered overconfidence when he still want to attempt to make back the losses through the speculative trading, which it just lead him to even bigger more losses. And in addition, as what I see, Lesson he often denied his mistake by hiding it in the error account without anyone know about it, rather than I think he should just admit his mistake from the start, and he tried to think another way in order to solve the losses that been made. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum to Sufais. My name is Nur Shahira Binti Yazid. Okay, I will present question number 3. Okay, based on lesson and role-based reflection, I think the blame primarily lies on the massive losses that they had hide in an error account. Once the Barings suffered a small loss on lesson watched by a new employee, he decided to hide a loss in an error account. However, when Lesson tried to reimburse the losses through speculative trading, the result also led to even bigger losses, in which Lesson again were hidden in an error account. Okay, why I think in this case this is the primarily blame, because it is not a big mistake towards the organization. It faces losses. Meanwhile, it is a normal way for the organization to grow. However, the mistake when Lesson act Lesson act in which he hide the losses in an error account. What are the things that Lesson need to do if he faces losses? Is he need to inform to the Barings on the losses, and he need to think on the effective outcomes. Hence, it will help the Barings to solve the problem on the losses. Okay. Okay, for the next question, with Lesson individually or with the system within which he operated? Okay, I think both with Lesson individually and with the system within which he operated made Lesson act on such way. It is because in the context of Lesson individually, he showed irresponsible and untrustworthy toward his work, because he did not inform to the Barings on the losses he had, but he hid the losses in an error account, in which, in the context of corporate ethics, it showed Lesson have no morality in himself. While in the context of the system within which he operated, Lesson operated in both the dealing desk, which is front office, and the back office. So all the trades he confirmed and settled transacted by the front office, in which he himself passed. Therefore, unfortunately, he able to hide what he wanted. Hence, I think both causes made lesson act on such way. So that's all from me. Thank you. Okay, the next questions. If I were in lessons position after the initial loss made by the employee, what will I do is, first of all, I will investigate what I really make that employee cause a loss. Just if it is related with the lack of skills of the employees, I will send the employee to the training. Hence, it will improve their skills towards their work, and indirectly will help the organization produce skilled and talented employees. In addition, what I will do after I found out the initial loss made by the employee is, I will think for some strategies to increase back the sales of the company. Since it is initial loss towards the company, I will get the employees together to brainstorm the idea on how to increase back the profit of the company. Like for example, I can get opinion from the employees at the, can we as producer of the products charge more of the products and services, or I will think together with the employees on how to get more customer and get back the trust of the customers towards of our product. Why I have to do that? Because I as a manager have responsibility towards all the employees in the company, and anything happen, I need to make a move to think of the strategies to overcome of such problems. It is because I as a manager have more experience toward the organization compared to others. Hence, what I need to do is solve the problem effective and efficiently, and also showing a good example to others. So that's all from me. I will pass to next presenter.
Lastly is question number 5. So the question is, do you have trouble owning up to a mistake that you have made, or do others whom you know? And explain with example. So based on my thought, I never experienced this kind of situation where having a trouble owning up to a mistake that I make. But there is someone I know who might gone the exact kind of situation, and she is my friend when I was in high school, and her name is Sarah. She was a hockey player, and she had a really bad knee injury, and it prevented her from playing hockey ever again. And in the course of having many surgeries, and in the interim of some of them, she was not really able to walk very well, so that was another big loss for her. And although she did not get the ability back, and she can now really successfully, but she's not as happy about that, and she still feel that significant loss about the ability to play the hockey again, even though she still have a pretty significant abilities compared to others. And that's all from me. That's all from us. Thank you.